Hello, 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 coaches and leaders. Welcome back to another episode of Coaching the Whole Educator. I have Steve Barkley back on with me. We are going to talk about pre-conferences. Anyway, I'm so excited about this because this is so human-centered and this so helps teachers get value and relevance out of coaching. So first of all, Steve, welcome back to the show. I'm excited
Thanks
to
for
have a
having me back.
conversation.
Great to be with you.
So I want to jump right in here. What are pre-conferences and why are they important?
So, when I began this work, which was 45 years ago, and I went to people and said, "Okay, coaching is built on a pre-conference, an observation, and a post-conference." Now, people knew those terms from a model that was generally at that time called clinical supervision. So your supervisor, your evaluator would come in, they'd have a pre-conference with you, they'd do the observation, you'd have a post-conference, and then nothing happened for maybe 6 months. And then when you had another one, there was no connection between the first one and the last one. So one of the first things I turned around and said, okay, in coaching, your post-conference turns into a pre-conference.
Mhm.
So it actually sets up that next observation piece.
Yeah.
But I realized that for it to be coaching, it had to be built from the pre-conference.
Mhm.
And through all those years of all the training I've done, the books I've written, I look at it and say the most important thing you do to change a teacher's behavior is the pre-conference.
Mhm.
If you're short on time, it's the piece everybody wants to cut. And I'm saying if you're short on time, don't do the observation.
Yes.
Do the pre and do the post. And if you're really short on time, just do the pre. Because if you do an effective pre-conference,
Mhm.
you will change the teacher's lesson. Not from anything you said, but because of the reflection that the teacher did in going through the pre-conference with you. They start thinking in the pre-conference about things they hadn't thought through in that detail, or there's a certain spot. So now while they're teaching, they're extra conscious
Mhm.
about that spot that they talked to you about.
Mhm.
The other piece I want to push forward there is trust.
Mhm.
And the difference for me, the more you move your instructional coaching from a mentoring model towards getting deeper and deeper into a peer coaching model, it should be more and more driven by the teacher.
Mhm.
So I use the description if I'm sitting in a teacher's classroom and the teacher looks back and sees me writing, the teacher knows exactly what I'm writing
Mhm.
because it's what we agreed to in the pre conference that I would be doing. So now when we get to the post conference, my trust
Mhm.
is built with the teacher because I did what I signed on to do.
And you know what? It as you were talking, it really occurred to me that it shifts the context of coaching from I gotcha to I got ya, right? Like we
Yeah,
are
good
when we
phrase.
have that, yeah, and it's part of building trust, right? It's that context. We're in this together. I'm not here to catch you doing something. And I love that. And so
So
I I
let,
you're
let me give,
go
let me
ahead.
give you one piece. There's a diagram if people put in their mind as they listen to us talk. The diagram I use in pre-conferencing is a V.
Uh-huh.
At the top of the V, I have the word agenda,
Uh-huh.
and then at the bottom of the V, I have the word focus.
Okay.
So when I go into a pre-conference, there's
Mhm.
two things I'm looking to uncover. The one I call the teacher's agenda.
Mhm.
So I want to know the teacher's thinking. And then the bottom one is the narrow focus for this observation.
Yes.
And I use that to describe that really is what makes coaching different from a supervisory evaluation. If an evaluator is observing your lesson, they have to look at everything
Uh-huh.
and they have to avoid getting a focus
Mhm.
because a focus would throw off the accuracy of the evaluation. You paid too much attention to a small thing. When I'm coaching, it's actually the opposite. I'm disregarding the majority of what's happening in the classroom in order to zero in on that focus.
And that's how we build efficacy. And that's how we make actual impact in classrooms, even if it is insane. If you're walking in, it is wildly chaotic. There's 20 things you want to fix at that moment. We
Bingo.
have to, we have to choose what we're going to focus on. Because if we try to do a major overhaul, nothing works.
When you say we, the we needs to be the teacher with the
Yes.
coach. So
Yes.
that it's really almost a relief to the coach. There's all
Yeah.
these things going on, and I know it's okay to ignore them.
Yeah. And I've had pre-conferences with teachers and I'll say, what do you want me to look for? And they'll say things like student, classroom management. The kids are just out of control. Right. And I go in and I observe and I realize, oh, their direction giving is actually causing confusion. Right. So it really ends up being I had no idea, by the way, this one teacher, I was like, I don't know what's going on in this. I had never been in his classroom. I didn't know what kind of behaviors I was going to see. But it's because I went in looking for what he wanted me to look for. We got to have a very rich conversation about how to give clear directions.
And generally, what you observe can be connected to a whole lot of different things. The
Yes.
fact that you're coming into the conversation through
Yes.
the teacher's desire,
Yes.
which takes away the evaluative components of it,
Yep.
has the person open to hear what you're talking about and exploring the possibilities of what you're talking about because
Yes.
it's connected for them.
And that connecting it to my catalyst mindsets framework thinking around that value mindset. I believe this has value for me. This immediately pre-conference immediately brings relevancy and value. And in my experience, that is the mindset gap that is the biggest in schools, that we are going into teachers' classrooms and observing them and then giving them feedback about some things that they don't care about yet.
So I'll give you another picture to put with it. If you think about a balance scale, and
Hmm.
on one side of the balance scale, you have the cost of the change.
Hmm.
And on
Yep.
the other side of the balance scale, you have the payoff of the change.
Yep.
So my listening
Hmm.
is I'm listening for what would this teacher see as payoffs
Yes.
and what would this teacher see as cost.
Yes.
And so then if I want to offer an idea to a teacher, I know that I got to get the balance scale to tilt. That
Yes.
the payoff has to outweigh the cost. So now as a coach, what are the issues I can bring that multiply the payoff? Or what possibilities could we explore that lower the cost? But I need the pre-conference to find that out.
Yes. I love that you said that. That is literally the work that I do with coaches around value mindset. You and I are so aligned. It is,
Well, that is the
yeah,
value.
it
That's I
is.
yeah,
That's what makes value, right? In task, I mean, there's like kind of academic terms around task value
yeah,
and all of that, but at the end of the day, you described it. We have payoffs and we have costs,
plus
and humans are weighing those all the time. Every human
every
listening to this,
suggestion,
yes,
every suggestion.
every suggestion. What are the
People,
payoffs? What are the
people
costs?
are saying what does the time that a pre-conference takes? What does that time cost me?
Right.
And what's the payoff of investing that time? So just during you and I having this conversation, that's
Yes.
the value that people are thinking through.
That's exactly it, right? Like coaches and leaders listening, like I don't have the time for a pre-conference. Well, we're going to name the cost for you, which is it is it is likely that the teacher will not find your coaching relevant. It is there's a proactive it is possible the teacher won't be impacted at all. There's a huge cost to not having that pre-conference.
I want to make a loop in there because
Mhm.
people skip the pre-conference
Mhm.
in they think
Mhm.
in respect for the teacher.
Yep.
In other words, the teacher is so jammed for time.
Yeah.
My coaching is taking up the teacher's time.
Yeah.
So by adding that pre-conference, I'm taking up even more of the teacher's time.
Yeah. This thank you for saying that, right? And it's we have to shift our own context around coaching and time. And there is so I also a thing that I talk often about is being proactive versus reactive. If we take the time to be proactive, it saves so much time on the reactive end
Yep.
in so many different ways.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Is there any? It's a pretty short episode, but I wanted to ask you: is there anything else you'd like to add about
I,
pre-conferences for
I,
those
I
listening?
will this. So if you look at my work around this, the biggest focus for me is the coach's questioning skills.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
the questioning and then tack to listening. So
Listening.
questioning sets up the teacher conversation, and now you engage in the listening. And so my most common story is I'm training coaches, and they all want the list of questions from me. Or like I'm going right into a session today where I'm going to pre-conference with a teacher virtually while her colleagues are sitting there in the room. And when they get that person to volunteer, they'll send me a note and say, Steve, I volunteered to do the coaching session with you. Can you send me the questions in advance? So
Yes.
I write back to them, no, I can't. Do you know why? And they always write back, no. Well, because I
No.
have no idea what the second question's going to be until you answer the first one. It's in pre-conferencing, the teacher is driving it. Okay. So
Yes.
if I was coming in to evaluate you, I can
Yes.
send you the questions in advance
Uh-huh.
because this is the information I need in order to do the evaluation. But in the coaching, my questions have to be high open-ended. I need a lot of paraphrasing, and I
Yes.
need to follow the teacher.
Thank you so much for saying that. That we don't know. We might know our first question. We don't know the next question though,
Yeah.
because what you're listening for will impact that. It's not just listening, right? It's what and I know you said this earlier. It's what you're listening for that impacts what you say next.
It's your human centeredness.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
question's going to be different based on what I'm learning about you.
Yeah.
Just the way as a teacher, my instruction has to change and be different.
Yeah.
My coaching of students needs to change and be different based
Exactly.
on what I'm learning about the student. So, my favorite question to teachers in a post conference is, "What did you learn today?
Yeah.
You were teaching this lesson. What did
What
you
did
learn?"
you learn? Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
So a coach should be asking him or herself the same question in a pre-conference.
Uh-huh.
What did I learn that's going to
Mhm.
influence my observation? Now we
Yes.
get into the post-conference. What did I learn during the post-conference that's going to influence my ongoing work with that teacher?
Yes, that's exactly it. And when we have the pre-conference, it gives us what we're looking for. And therefore, when we have the post-conference, we are listening for, it also gives us what we're listening
Yep.
for because that is going to impact what our next question is. Because we can ask all the questions. There's an infinite number of questions we could ask. I love that you named that. Thank you, because I feel exactly the same. I can't give someone a list of questions to ask. I may be able to give you the first one.
Yep. I can give you some good questions, but I can't tell
Yes.
you where they fit.
Yes. That's exactly it. Steve, you're brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing this with
Thank
me,
you.
with the folks
It was great to be
listening.
with you.
Yes, it was great to be with you too.